My mummy says I'm a miracle. Hey up guys, so it is that time of the year again. It is the time of the BFI London Film Festival. So yeah, I get to watch a lot of awesome movies nice and early locally. Yes, I don't have to travel to an international film festival to watch some movies. That's lovely, isn't it? So yeah, I'm going to be bringing you lots of content over the coming weeks from the London Film Festival. The first film I'm going to be discussing on the channel is the opening film of this year's festival, which is actually the world premiere of Matthew Warchus's Matilda, which is an adaptation of the beloved West End stage musical, which itself was an adaptation of the beloved Roald Dahl's children's book. So you've got a film which was an adaptation of a stage play, which was an adaptation of a book. So it's an adaptation of an adaptation. Yes, I'll be honest, when they first announced that Matilda was going to be the opening film of this year's London Film Festival, I was a little, I guess, underwhelmed by the selection. Yeah, I think my first response was, really? Like, don't get me wrong, I love Roald Dahl. I grew up reading his books. He was a massive influence on me. I love the book Matilda, and I even love the Danny DeVito adaptation film that came out in 1996. For a lot of people that grew up in the 90s, that movie was a big part of their childhood. On my way, on my way. Yeah, that film definitely holds a special place in my heart. I also love the West End stage show. I've seen it twice, and I absolutely love the soundtrack to it as well. My mummy says I'm a miracle. Yep, that's gonna be in my head all day now. But for whatever reason, when they announced that Matilda was gonna be the opening film, I just thought it was a bit of an odd choice. It just didn't spark a lot of excitement from me, which is sad because of how much Roald Dahl played an impact in my life. But yeah, for whatever reason, I just wasn't that excited about this being the opening film. But now that I've watched it, I'm just so happy to eat my own words because I came out of this film with tears of joy. Like, I was happy crying by the end of this movie. This movie really was just, it was marvelous. It was such a treat. It was actually a wonderful choice to open the film festival because it was such a lovely, sweet, optimistic movie. This film genuinely surprised me. I guess I was going into Matilda with low expectations because recent movie adaptations of beloved stage musicals have been quite disappointing for me. I wasn't a fan of Dear Evan Hansen, and even Everybody's Talking About Jamie was a bit of a disappointment for me. And I guess I was just nervous that Matilda was going to have the same fate of those movies, being just a bit of an underwhelming movie adaptation. And often these West End musicals, they don't often translate well into the medium of film. Thankfully, that wasn't too much of an issue with this adaptation. Like, it's not perfect by any means, but it is still a really lovely family film. I'm sure most of you already know the plot of Matilda, but just for those of you that don't know, Matilda is the story of Matilda Wormwood, played in this film by Alicia Weir. She's a very smart girl born into a family that doesn't really want her. Her dad and mum are played by Stephen Graham and Andrea Riseborough in this interpretation, and they are neglectful, self-centered. Her parents didn't even bother to enlist her in school, so Matilda found refuge in teaching herself to read. But when she finally gets to go to school, she has to deal with the horrific headmistress, Miss Trunchbull, played by Emma Thompson in this, but she's also got the love and support of her main teacher, Miss Honey, who's played in this film by Lashana Lynch. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot to mention that Matilda is a genius. She has a very special mind. What's the expression? Knowledge is power. Well, Matilda's got all the knowledge and therefore she has all the power because she actually develops the ability of telekinesis, meaning she can move stuff with her mind. So yeah, she's a superhero. No, not really. This is not a superhero movie. But yes, we could definitely use some more movies which teach the value of education and acquiring knowledge. Because that's where real power comes from, kids. It's in books, not on Tik Tok and Instagram. Let's talk about the performances. Obviously, we have to start off with the titular character, Matilda, played in this film by Alicia Weir, who I thought was absolutely magnificent. Mara Wilson did such an iconic job of playing Matilda in 1996. Like, to many people like myself, they probably see her face when they hear the word Matilda. And now, Alicia Weir will be the face that a new generation sees when they hear the name Matilda. It's a lot of pressure on anyone to carry a film, but an even harder task for a young child, but Alicia Weir was magnificent in this. Like, I was so captivated watching her in the storytelling scenes, you know, with the acrobat, with the dynamite in her hair, the way like she holds you in her grasp, the way she tells a story, God, she brings it to life. And Alicia Weir was just so, I can't stress how good she was in this. Like, she sings, she emotes so well, she holds her own with actors who are far more seasoned than her. So yeah, wonderful job, Alicia Weir. Can't wait to see you in more stuff. You did a fantastic job. Roald Dahl himself would be proud. Emma Thompson was good fun as Miss Trunchbull. I love it when Emma Thompson gets to play a baddie. She's had quite a few good ones recently. Like, she went from glamorous, savage in Cruella to ugly and bullish in Matilda. I also have to praise the makeup team that helped Thompson transform into the role. The little wisps of hair on her chinny chin chin were a nice touch. But I can't really fault the performances in this film because everybody was wonderful to watch. Stephen Graham and Andrea Riseborough as Matilda's parents. Lashana Lynch as Miss Honey was just so warm. And yet, all the kids in this were great. And I'm not just talking about the kids that had name parts and lines, but literally all the kids in the school were fantastic. Like, you could tell they were having such a blast making this film. They were all wonderful dancers, and the kids really did bring the musical sequences to life. Now let's talk about the musical numbers, because I do think they were well executed, but I do think I prefer some of the arrangement and choreography of what I've seen in the stage show. This isn't going to be a problem if you haven't seen the stage show because you don't know, you've got nothing to compare it to. But yes, as someone who's seen the show twice, I just really love the production design and how they use the set in certain songs, like the school song and When I Grow Up, because they use like these like blocks that look like Scrabble tiles, sorry, with different letters on them, and the way they insert them and climb on top of them, it's really creative and inventive. And then there's the swings in When I Grow Up. They use swings on the stage. It's really cute. And don't get me wrong, like the When I Grow Up is lovely. It's the way it's done, and like Matthew Warchus has really taken advantage of the freedom that the medium of film allows, which you don't necessarily get on the stage. And it's, you know, it's very extravagant, it's very fun and dazzling. But yeah, I guess part of me just thinks like, I quite like the minimalism and the creativity of the stage show. So like, some of the musical numbers weren't as good as, let's say, what you'd see on the stage show for me, but if you haven't seen the stage show, it's not going to be a problem. But overall, I still did enjoy the musical set pieces. It did some really dazzling stuff in When I Grow Up, Bruce, and Revolting Children, and even the storytelling sequences where Matilda is talking to her friend about the acrobat with dynamite in her hair. All that was really well done. I really like the costumes in those sequences as well. So a hat tip to the costume designer. Rob Howell, just had to IMDb him. My only other negative is like, there were times where it did look a little bit green screeny. Like there's a scene where Matilda's on her roof doing a handstand for a seagull. Yep, that happens in this film. And like, I don't have a problem with that. It's just, you know, you can kind of tell there's a fakeness to it. But that really is just like, a nitpick. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch it again? Actually, yes. I didn't think I was going to say that when I went into this movie, but this movie really surprised me. I do think my personal favorite of the adaptations is the Danny DeVito film, just because I've got, you know, some nostalgic bias for that film. It's intrinsically linked to my childhood, but this film still really impressed me, and any film that can make me happy cry is doing something right, and it's enough to make me want to go back and watch it again. So yeah, I would watch it again. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Oh yeah, I recommend Matilda for families. Like, this is just a really warm, uplifting family film with lovely messages about kindness, patience, and respect, as well as the value of knowledge and imagination. And because it's an adaptation of the West End stage musical and not the book itself, you are getting something different to the 1996 Danny DeVito film. It's not like a retread of the exact same thing. There's differences here because obviously it is a musical. So yeah, I do recommend it. Give it a go. It's coming to UK cinemas the 25th of November, and then it's coming to Netflix a little bit later. And third question, what score to give out of 10? Matilda was far better than I thought it was going to be. It's always nice to be proven wrong when you're going in with low expectations. But yeah, this film really was a delight. I came out of it feeling very joyful, and it is a emotionally satisfying Famalam film. So I'm gonna give Matilda a score of 7.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I do want to hear from you guys. Have you seen Matilda? If you have, what do you make of it? How does it compare to the Danny DeVito film? Whatever you have to say about this movie, let your voice be heard in the comment section down below. If you have enjoyed this video, help me out by hitting that little thumbs up button. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe, and if you want to follow me on any of my socials, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, all those links in that video description down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Nick Carefield, and I'll see you next time.